The first thing we need to do is to create our task priority enum. The purpose of the task priority enum is to show if the task is urgent, medium, or of low priority. So we'll create a new group, name the group enum, and then we create a new Swift file and name the file task priority, and then enter the following: enum task priority int. We want it to be codable, case iterable, so we can loop through it. Each of the enums will have a unique identifier. Case low is 0, medium and high. We also need to create an ID for identifiable, so that each of the enum values have a unique ID when we're looping through it. For value, and then we create a computed property display name, which returns a string. Switch cell, return low, as in low priority, so that should be case low. If the case is medium, then we return medium as a string, as a medium priority. If the case is high, return high as a string. The next thing we need to do is create our data models. So we need to create a new folder called models. And the name of the data model will represent the information that will be stored in SwiftData. So because it's a task management application, we need to name the first model or entity task item. We also need to import SwiftData and decorate the class with @model. That will signify that we're using SwiftData, and the class needs to be like persisted as a data model for SwiftData. The data table or the entity has an attribute which will be a unique ID using UUID, and we also have a title for the task, and the task can also include notes and it has another field called completed. That's a Boolean variable. A Boolean variable that will signify if it's pending or completed. The task also has a start date, when the task should be started, and the task has an end date as well, and also a project type or a category that you'll see later. And it also has a private variable called priority, which is a raw value of integer data type. And it also has a color hex string to store some colors, and a created at date that will show when the actual data was stored or saved within SwiftData, when the actual task was created. Var updated at, that will show when the task was updated, the actual date and time. We also need another computed property called task priority that we created earlier, and then we have to use a get, so it's a read-only property, task priority raw value, priority raw, medium. So that will convert the raw value into a task priority, and then we use a write property, which is a set property, priority raw, I spelled priority raw incorrectly, so that should be priority let me go to the definition. It was defined there. So it should be priority, so that should be, there should be an I there. It's correct now. So that's priority raw, and then we assign the value as new dot value to get the raw value. We also need to apply our initializer. So for the color hex, that should be assigned to this string. And priority raw should be, do we need priority raw in there? Yes, we do, but that should be dot raw value. So it should be priority. That should be priority dot raw value. Yeah, that's it. And then the issue is that our parameter within our initializer states priority raw, but it should be called priority. And priority should be a task data type and not integer. See, that's why I like to do some of these things manually sometimes, but sometimes Xcode, it doesn't work properly. As I use autocomplete for the initializer. Just going to double check everything now. UUID, UID should be UUID. Title string. Note string is completed boolean, which is assigned to false. That should be false. Just compile it again. In the next tutorial, we will implement more models and the repository.